First off, I'd like to apologize for it being almost 2 weeks since my last upload. I have recently had a lot of expensive car trouble, so that had to take priority with my time and focus. But today, I finally had time to sit down and look at any news with FNAF, and oh boy, did I come back to a lot. 2 new teasers posted to the Steelwool YouTube channel, and a lot of speculation I have seen about it. But because I have no fear of having egg on my face, I think I can take it a step further. I think I know who these characters are, and what the eventual reveal is going to be with them. This is going to be a wild one, so strap in and get those eggs ready. Now, I assume you all have seen these teasers, but in case you haven't, a brief overview of both goes like this. In the first video, we see a film reel transition into the animation itself. The animation depicts 2 characters, a man sitting at a desk, and a woman standing in front of the desk. The 2 seem to be in what appears to be an office, a la the cubicles, desk with a typewriter, and filing boxes. It could also be pointed out that the 2 are dressed in a more quote-unquote business professional attire. The man mentions how he is tired, but has a presentation at work in the morning, but is already tired. The woman then suggests he try a coffee from the new Murray's Stay Up Latte machine. She says it will make the perfect cup based on his habits. The coffee machine then says, "I know what you want better than you do. I am always watching and learning. Have another cup, have another cup, have another cup." The animation ends with a scene transition to the morning with a gag about how he stayed up all night and is ready for even more work and is excited about pursuing a promotion. Throughout the animation, we can see what seems to be a realistic-looking cubicle and a nurse animatronic named Dolly, both on what seems to be a separate video bleeding through to the animation. The second animation begins the same as the first, with the film reel transition, only to cut to a catchy tune and a pile of clothes falling from above, as a narrator begins asking if there are clothes creating catastrophic piles, and if the viewer's family is distraught by the untidy nature of their house. As the narrator speaks, we see what appears to be a family of 3, a father on the left, baby in the center, and mother on the right. What is notable is that the man and the woman seem to be the same characters as before, just depicted in a different art style. They are also mirroring their positions in the original animation with the man on the left and the woman on the right. The narrator then declares that the solution is here, Murray's magic coat rack. It then cuts to a coat rack moving up and down on its own as the narrator is explaining all the different things the coat rack can hold. Near the end, we can even see that the coat rack can hold you if you are feeling bad, as we see the man holding the coat rack, with the coat rack embracing him back, all while the man cries with his eyes closed and, very oddly, a smile on his face. The animation closes with the coat rack in front of a spiral as the audio distorts and the tape burns. Throughout this animation, we don't see anything, but if you listen closely, you can hear what seems to be grunts of pain, and at one point a man saying, "My leg." So, wow, that's a lot to go over. So what does all this mean? No idea. See you guys Tuesday. I'm just kidding. I have a few ideas. Now, the two main characters in each teaser seem to be depicting the same two characters, just depicted in different styles. That's not really a stretch, as we see notable similarities between the two, and many other theorists have been quick to point them out. My big swing here, and focal point of this theory, is at least proposing the idea that these two teasers are depicting Mr. and Mrs. Afton back when they both worked at Murray Co. and agreed to use their likenesses for advertisement. Now, I know this is one hell of a swing I am taking, but hear me out. The biggest point that got me thinking this way was the man's bow tie in both animations. Now, it's a little hard to tell in the second, as both seem to be discolored quite a bit by the film, as it's more than likely degrading, but it is easier to tell in the first teaser. If you look closely here, to my eyes at least, it looks like a purple bow tie. What an odd choice of color to associate this character with. A character who already has at least a bit of a similar appearance to William Afton in his earlier years. You would think that if they wanted to avoid confusion about depicting a pale man with short brown hair and glasses in the animation with William, they would use literally any other color than purple, right? Well, maybe avoid mustard yellow too, but still. Why not make the tie blue? Or green? Or red? Why purple? If this universe has any universal constant, it's that William Afton and purple go hand in hand, and Steel Wool of all people know this. One of the first problems you might call out with this theory is, if this were true, why don't the two characters, or at least the man in this case, have English accents? Why do they seem to speak with a general American accent? I might speculate that they didn't use William and Clara's voices for the advertisement, as an English accent would be odd in advertising in America for the time. William and Clara didn't have the spare time to record the lines, and the people they did get would more than likely have had American accents, would be my guess. You might also call out how we never see William depicted with glasses, and I would say yes, that was true up until the FNAF movie. But as we see through the movie, William clearly doesn't need to wear glasses all of the time, as he needs them off to wear the spring Bonnie head, and he seems to move just fine while wearing it, so more than likely they are just reading glasses. And that is the reasoning I would give here. Now, this all might be one massive red herring and misdirect by Steel Wool, in which case, feel free to chuck any eggs you may have in a week's time to June 13th, depending on the teasers we get in that time, of course, as I might get proven wrong as quick as next week with the next teaser. But I thought I'd take another big swing and suggest that these might be the first realistic in-game depictions we are ever getting of William and Clara. Now, wait, unnamed, I can hear you saying, didn't people suggest this exact idea during Sister Location with The Immortal and the Restless, and that turned out to be untrue? And I have to admit, keen-eyed viewer, maybe. I have no idea. It could have been a misdirect, but for all we know to this day, The Immortal and the Restless may have been depicting the two all the way back then, as others have theorized for years. Now, obviously, William isn't a vampire, but putting Vlad in a purple suit was also a specific choice made by Scott himself. if he had not wanted those parallels to be drawn, he would have put Vlad in the more typical vampire colors of black and red. But he chose purple, more than likely for us to make those connections intentionally. And now, that is being repeated here, is my rebuttal. So why do I say they were both working for Muriko before Fazbear's? Because they seem to be depicting characters in their mid-20s to mid-30s, and since these animations would have had to have been made prior to when Secret of the Mimic takes place in 1979, and at that point, that would be the rough approximate ages of both William and Clara at that point in time. Perhaps they agreed to have their likenesses depicted in advertisements for Muriko. Maybe even that is a baby Michael depicted in the second animation. Maybe their prior experience at Muriko and stealing of his technology was what helped William and Henry get Fredbear's Family Diner started in the first place when they ended up merging. Is it even possible both William and Henry got their starts at Muriko before branching off on their own and eventually merging together? That would explain how William was good at the handmade suits and Henry was good at robotics, as both skills clearly would have been needed at Muriko. Maybe, but am I stretching these two teasers so hard that if they were wet I could pull the hydrogen out of the water? Absolutely. But if I am right, this would not only explain how Fazbear would have gotten a hold of both the Mimic 1 program to begin with, it would show us how exactly the earliest beginnings of Fredbear and eventually Fazbear got started. But what do you guys think? Am I onto something? Or do I need to head back to the kitchen to cook more? Let me know in the comments below. And thank you for watching. I should also, at the end of the video here, make another quick little blurb about how the PTB for the FNAF chapter in Dead by Daylight is coming out in a couple days, so I thought I would just, make a little quick thing here at the end to say that yes, I will be playing that quite religiously over the next couple weeks, and I hope you guys would feel free to tune in, and I'll start to make actual gameplay videos of it as well, exploring, him, his power, the map, but I'm going to be regularly live streaming as well if you guys would like to tune in. But other than that, thank you for watching, leave your comments below, and I should be back somewhat soon. Thank you.